This is awkward to admit, but my mom's ashes are in my attic. I just don't know what I can legally do with them. What are my options besides keeping a loved one on my mantle?
Ryan did some illegal stuff with my mom's ashes.
No, I didn't. But I would put random name tags on the ashes. we had fun with it. It was like the smallest little urn.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. What did you do with like the majority of her ashes?
I just mixed my coffee every morning.
Oh my God. So now she's with you.
Oh, God.
No, seriously, what did you do with like the majority of her ashes?
I spread them in St. Pete.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And then you kept a little urn for yourself.
Then I spread those in Dayton eventually and got rid of the urn as well.
Yeah. Which,
Because my mom was not in the urn.
right. I didn't even question, but is it legal to spread ashes? Is it technically illegal to spread someone's ashes?
I'm not telling you to spread ashes or not spread ashes.
You're just talking about what you've done with
Yeah, it's been over 7 years.
Yeah.
I think it actually depends on the area. I mean, there's some places that kind of look down on it. Like I had looked into, there's a place, the highest place in Tennessee is in the Smoky Mountains called Klingman's Dome. And
Well, yeah.
you know where I'm talking
I know
about.
Klingman's
Yeah.
Dome,
And there's a
next to
place
Charlie's Bunyan.
Yeah. It's a place I was really fascinated with as a youth. And I thought, I think when I pass, I would like to be cremated and have my ashes spread there. Well, it's National Park Service, right? They legally, you can't do that. Now, do people go up, though, and wait till no one's around and do things like that? Of course they do.
Yeah.
Legally, though, that's an area where,
It's a little gray area.
yeah.
So part of my mom is swimming the Tampa Bay.
Which is kind of surprising. I gotta say real quick, I wanted to interrupt you on that though, because your mom was Catholic, right? That of course my family's Catholic as well. And when my dad passed, they're very like the Catholics, they're fine with cremation. The specifics are though, you have to keep all the ashes together, and at some point the ashes have to be buried in a Catholic cemetery.
Oh,
Those are
interesting.
like, as far as Catholicism, those are the specifics.
Well,
with
I
it.
feel like your mom was Catholic.
No, my mom was like,
Was she
uber
devout?
cat? Like,
Was
yeah.
she uber Catholic? Okay.
So here's how Catholic she was. She went to church 6 days a week. She just didn't go on Sundays because that's when the fake Catholics went. She said,
oh, wow. Yeah.
like, she was so Catholic because like she was a nun before she had me, right?
Okay.
And she was still practicing Catholic when she had keys to the church. That's how Catholic mom was.
Wow.
But what I'll say is that she didn't really buy into certain dogmas like that. And she said, well, once I'm gone, I'm gone. I'm going to be in heaven, and my ashes are just my ashes. My body's my body. It's sort of like in my will. My will says that like you and Bex can decapitate me, shoot my body out of a cannon, use my head as a soccer ball. It literally says this in my will.
Yeah, it does.
And
Wow.
And I'm the one that gets to decide.
I know.
So excited.
If it brings you great joy, that'd be wonderful, right?
We're going to have a soccer game
Yeah.
for your funeral.
I'd love it. And so, yes, I guess part of my mom was swimming around Tampa Bay, and then every time I'd go over to Ryan's condo, I'd sprinkle a few ashes on his carpet.
Oh my God, I felt like I was getting haunted.
Do I have any serious commentary for
yeah.
Janine?
I think you said it best about the ashes are not your mother is not in those ashes. I mean, physically, yes, there is some burnt flesh that is there, but like that's not your mom. And with that said, it's like you can do with them whatever you want. Like, yeah, I would encourage you to do something that has meaning. But even if you don't, that's okay.
Yeah. And by the way, meaning can mean different things to you. Like Ryan and I, jokingly, when I had the little urn, and he would come over, put little name tags on it, and like he had a name tag that said Chloe, and then because originally before they had one that said Alex, and I'm like, oh, we should at least put her name on it. And so like, and so it had a customer service name tag, and then like we would talk to her, and so like
Worst customer service agent ever.
why are you stonewalling me? Anyway, she was there in spirit, but we knew that there wasn't the person there hiding in the urn. And so it was meaningful to me and Ryan because one of the ways that we dealt with tragedy is through levity and being willing to joke about something as profoundly sad as losing a parent is one way to grieve.
Yeah. And your mom would have laughed at all of our
she would have
jokes.
loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I guess I would throw this question back on Janine and say, what do you feel compelled to do? And not compelled by society, like you're supposed to bury the urn or you're supposed to be in a particular cemetery or you're supposed to have ashes on a mantle. Like that was the joke. I had a mantle in my apartment, so that was the only thing on the mantle where it was that little tiny urn.
Yeah.
It's not what society says you're supposed to do. What do you feel compelled to do? And you can let go in a way that is most compelling to you.
And I would just briefly jump in. So I joked around with I felt the same way about my ashes, even though I was raised Catholic. I just told my wife, Diana, I said, cremate me. I really don't care what you do afterwards because I'll be gone. I mean, my body's left, right? The bones will be the cremation, but I really don't care what you do with it because I'll be dead. Because I said you can put me in one of those like little soup containers or something. But I thought for an idea I had later, though, I thought for the family, if it's something they wanted, more than burying me in a cemetery or something like that, I said, put my ashes, dig a hole, put my ashes in the hole, plant a tree over me. Now there's something that's a living thing that's going to benefit in some way, right, from my remains. Yeah. And I, in a way, become part of that living thing that if future generations of the family want to visit,
they could visit
a relative.
Yes. And if it's an apple tree, they could eat.
Podcast Sean. It's a new variety of apple.
It's going to be a bitter ass tree. Let's say that. Bitter ass fruit.
Well, they actually do have that. I've seen that where you can basically, you can put your body in a whole tree system and like grow a tree out of your, you use your body as fertilizer essentially.
That's a beautiful way to do it, as opposed to the ashes, because the ashes aren't going to do much. But if you have an actual decomposing body,
right,
it can provide fertile soil for something to grow, right?
Yeah.
Now, here's what I'll say. One last thing, Janine. Did your mom tell you what she wanted done with her ashes? And if so, was it reasonable? Because here's what you don't want to do with her ashes. She's like, please, whatever you do, don't spread me throughout the Tampa Bay. Sorry, Mom. Ha, ha, ha.
Right.
But as long as it was reasonable, what did she want?
Yeah.
Did she communicate that with you? And also, what was her tradition? Because I also want to be respectful of other religious traditions. And if someone else is like, hey, here's what I would like you to do with my ashes, as long as it's reasonable, I would respect that.
Yeah.
If they're asking for something unreasonable, that's a different story. But I would do anything within reason, had my mom asked. But she specifically said she wanted to be spread in the Tampa Bay, and therefore she was.
Yeah.
Allegedly, as long as that's not illegal. Oh, wait, we're past the statute of limitations.
That's right. Yeah. You can admit it now.
Take that, city of St. Petersburg. Did you enjoy this standalone Patreon highlight? If so, you can listen to full episodes of the Minimalist Private Podcast, available exclusively on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/theminimalists or click the link in the description. Your support keeps our podcast and YouTube channel 100% advertisement free.